All right. Are we back? Hey, folks, it is March 8th, 2025, and we are back in studio. Really looking forward to this one. Just got back from vacation in Arizona, and feels amazing to be back, breathing fresh air. Not so great to be back in the rain, in the clouds, leaving behind the sunny Scottsdale, 75 degrees. That was a little bit hard to do, but it does feel back to be nice. Nice to be back in the studio once again here. Stuttering as I get started up here, back in studio. Really looking forward to this one. Wanted to come back and do a market update. And yes, I'm still bullish on XRP. Yes, I'm still bullish on crypto. Yes, I'm still bullish on President Trump bringing us into the golden age of America, creating a level playing field and restoring the republic. No, nothing has changed. In fact, the past week, despite all the best headlines that we got, it seems like the sentiment is down in the gutters because a lot of people are distracted by today's price, forgetting that that is not an indicator of the fundamental value of these assets. And the direction that we're heading is very clear. And the direction that we're heading is very beautiful, actually. It's going to be bumpy, though, and we know it's going to be volatile. And a lot of people aren't going to be able to make it through that. That's okay. We're going to do what we can to save and get as many people on board this train with us. We're already moving, and you can see right now, when Trump writes an executive order, when Trump puts out a post, he's showing you which direction we're heading. Does that mean that everything gets solved right away? No. Does it mean that XRP goes to 589 right away? No. Does it mean that Bitcoin is going to go to 200,000 or a million right away? No. In fact, as the executive order outlined, we're not going to be buying more Bitcoin. At least not now, and at least not through the stroke of a pen with President Trump. We're not going to be doing it. And that's not a surprise for me and many others in the community who understand that, it's going to take an active Congress to actually fulfill some of these agendas that we're trying to get past here. It doesn't all happen through the stroke of a pen by our president. That's not how this country works. But the beautiful thing is that we have a plan. We have a direction. We have a path that we are heading down. And when Trump does a deal and the stock market, falls apart, is that Trump's fault, or is it an overvalued stock market that was looking for any excuse to come back down? Whether it was the DeepSeek AI narrative, we had the trade war that's continued to bring our markets back down. The market's been looking for an excuse to come back down. And as Trump put out in his post here tonight, he's asking for us to give him a little bit of time here. And it's not just Trump either. It's the most pro-crypto Congress that we've ever had, right? This is a Congress along with President Trump and a Supreme Court that's working on the plan here. It's going to take some time. This is not going to be overnight. In the post that Trump put out here today on Truth Social, asking for a little bit of time. The House and Senate have put together, under the circumstances, a very good funding bill. Continued resolution. All Republicans should vote, please, yes, next week. Great things are coming for America, and I am asking you all to give us a few months to get us through to September so we can continue to put the country's financial house in order. Democrats will do anything that they can to shut down our government, and we can't let that happen. We have to remain united, no dissent, fight for another day when the timing is right. Very important, make America great again. So he's asking for us to give him some time here. Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, said very simply, this is not going to be Trump's economy until about 6 to 12 months down the road. We were handed off a dumpster fire, to put it lightly. And really, we could elaborate on that further, but you guys, I think, understand the situation at hand. So the economy was weak. We were already in a jobs recession. We're very likely to be heading into a technical recession. No, we're already in a technical recession because the Atlanta Fed is now forecasting that the first quarter of this year is going to have negative GDP. And, it's going to be bumpy here. Maybe we get a negative Q2. And for the first 2 quarters of 2025, we will actually have a technical recession. Now, do we want to blame Biden? Do we want to blame Trump? Does that make you rich? Does that make you wealthy? How does that program work out? By blaming somebody else versus understanding you're in control of your life, your business, your investments. And no matter who's in the White House, no matter who's in Congress, no matter whether we're at war, no matter what disturbance is going to take place in this country, it's going to be up to us. Nobody's coming to save us. So that should be very clear to everybody by now. Now, whether you want to get on board, whether you want to cry about this and whine that your portfolio is not going up as fast as you would like it to, there's a massive undercurrent here that is being observed by institutions and smart money, and by myself and many of you guys in the chat here that are with me. And you guys have been with me for a while, and maybe some of you new folks are new, but you get it. You get this undertaking. It's not something that can be solved overnight. Now, continuing on, Republicans dare Democrats to oppose the funding bill after shutdown warnings. So Republicans are taunting Democrats to vote the continuing resolution to prevent the government shutdown. And the reason why I'm highlighting this is they're going to continue to play politics. This is the DC dance. And no, it's not happening fast enough. For those of us that are tapped in and that have been anxious to save this country, it's not happening fast enough, right? For people that are just don't understand what's going on, they're just looking for somebody to blame. And so whether that's blaming Trump, whether that's blaming Biden, once again, we gotta understand how to position ourselves accordingly, no matter who's going to be running this show. And that's really what it is. Trump at the DC summit yesterday, never sell your Bitcoin. That's a little phrase that they have. I don't know if that's right or not. Who the hell knows? In my opinion, Trump doesn't care about Bitcoin. And just like myself, I mean, I respect Bitcoin. It was the first crypto. It's why we're here. And we have some Bitcoin. Does the United States want to hold on to our Bitcoin? As Trump says, why the hell not, right? We already have it. Let's hold it. That's fine with me. Should we acquire more? Should we use taxpayer funds to buy Bitcoin? It's an absolute no from me. But I'm just one American. And that's, our country's not up to me to decide. And so this is a conversation that we're now having. We are being legitimatized as an industry. Now, just because I don't think that Bitcoin's the best thing for America to do, doesn't mean that, necessarily Michael Saylor shouldn't be at the table. What I think that Trump's doing is he's bringing everybody in the industry to the table, and he's basically going to expose who's going to be self-serving, who's going to have conflicts of interest, or who's actually going to put America first, who's actually got a real business. Coinbase's Brian Armstrong says he's about to hire 1,000 employees here in America. We'll see. I'm going to be following up with Brian Armstrong on that, because it's one thing for these guys to come in when it's fair weather fans, right? It's one thing now, everybody's wanting to come back to America. But there's only one company that really stands out to me as a company that's stood the ground here in America and actually fought on behalf of the entire crypto industry, and that's Ripple. There's a few other crypto exchanges that have fought pretty well, and really it's only the crypto exchanges that have had the dough to actually fight our government back. It's not an easy thing to do. So I understand why a lot of people went to other jurisdictions and formed foundations in Switzerland and a little entity in the Cayman Islands and another little entity in the Bahamas, and we did an ICO in Japan. I understand why they did that. And it's funny to watch everybody now trying to flock back to the USA. There's a few people that never left. There's a few people that have kept on building. And to me, it's very clear. Now, we got to be mature about this as well, too. I see a lot of whining and complaining that the market isn't pumping from the DC Crypto Summit. And, obviously the Bitcoin maxis are upset that the executive order says we're not going to buy more Bitcoin. They should be happy that it says we're at least going to hold on to the Bitcoin that we have. I think that that's about as much as they should have expected. But we have to be mature about this approach to digital assets. Now, David Sachs summarizes it perfectly right here. The old fake news narrative was that this was going to be a pump. The Crypto Summit was a pump. The new fake news narrative is that the Crypto Summit was disappointing because the price went down. You can't make this stuff up. And this relates to everybody that was attacking David for the conflict of interest that he had by doing the strategic reserve. You have to understand, and I've spoke about this on my last couple of videos when I was, been talking about XRP being handed off to the Treasury. You have to understand, these guys were coming out of the woodworks to attack David Sachs and to attack the Trumps for their conflict of interest. And just like I acknowledged in my past videos, there absolutely is a conflict of interest with the Trump family being heavily invested in crypto. Now, David Sachs did divest of all of his crypto holdings. So David Sachs, from what I can see, doesn't have a conflict of interest at all anymore. Does the Trump family? Yes, they do. Now, is it necessarily wrong? No, it just needs to be acknowledged. And that's important. That's very important. We have to acknowledge that there is a conflict of interest. But what is Trump really doing? He's bringing in everybody. He's bringing in Chainlink. He's bringing in Ripple. He's bringing in, exchanges. He's bringing in stablecoin issuers like Palo. He's bringing in everybody. And in my opinion, Trump doesn't necessarily trust everybody at the table. Remember, he went through his first administration of having to deal with a bunch of establishment characters that he brought in that got exposed and turned on him, essentially, and he had to get rid of them. Now, going into his second administration, obviously having that experience, I think, is helping him out. Picking his cabinet, this is an all-star cast that he's got on the cabinet. It really is. And very pro-business and very pro-free market and liberty, which is what I'm all about. And so David Sachs makes a great point here. Everybody was calling it a conflict of interest, saying that they're pumping it up. And you saw David Sachs rolling back those comments from earlier this week by saying that, basically a PR stunt, in my opinion, is what it was, by kind of rolling back some of those comments that Trump made in his post that started off the week, just 1 week ago on Sunday, when Trump said that XRP, along with Ethereum, Bitcoin, Cardano, and Solana would be added to the reserve. Now it's only going to be a Bitcoin reserve, and now they're not going to be buying Bitcoin. They're just rolling the Bitcoin that's been seized over to the reserve, and they're going to roll over the other cryptos, to a strategic stockpile. But once again, just like with trying to fix the rest of our government, before we can make a move forward, we have to figure out what the hell's going on. What do we even have? So they're asking an audit to be conducted of our digital asset holdings. It's because we don't even know. Do we even have Bitcoin? Where did the Bitcoin go? Apparently, there's a bunch of Bitcoin that might be missing. And folks are so anxious to see that number go up today off of Trump pumping it up. And then now it doesn't pump, and now, it's bad. And it was a nothing burger. It was a nothing burger for price. But if you're an experienced investor here in the digital asset space, or even for the traditional market for that matter, then this is typical of what we see on buy the rumor, sell the news. There's a reason why that saying is so prevalent in investing in financial markets. Buy the rumor, sell the news is the whole entire game. That's why we were buying XRP for 6 years while it was below 50 cents. When we had a bunch of FUD, when we had an SEC lawsuit, we were buying it then because we knew it was going to be a reserve. I've been bullish on XRP, and I said that Brad Garlinghouse was going to be at that DC Crypto Summit before I saw the headline. I've been saying that the SEC versus Ripple case is over before I see the headline. That's the entire game. Don't you get it? You have to get in early when it's not popular, when it's not fair weather. Like everybody trying to flock to the US now because now the US is crypto friendly. Instead of those that stood and held their ground and fought on behalf of the entire industry, only so that we can have the Bitcoin maxis stab us in the back. I saw the Chainlink communicator. I forget his last name. He's a Zach, so I remember that. He's the Chainlink community liaison. And I've shown a couple of his posts clowning around, anti-XRP posts. He's not done. He put out another one just yesterday or today. A picture of the Chainlink guy, Sergey, next to Brad Garlinghouse. And he says, one is speaking, one is watching. Come on. Don't be playing around here, okay? Because there's a big difference. This is the first time that Chainlink Sergey's been in the room, okay? So I don't even need to get into it. And once again, we're trying to get away from the tribalism. This week, Ripple creates the National Crypto Association. What do the Bitcoin maxis call it? Another attack on Bitcoin. We're trying to let all boats rise with this rising tide. We're trying to lift up everybody. We spent $150 million battling the lawsuit. The XRP communities had to fight tooth and nail for 6 years, battling suppression, battling misinformation, battling disinformation. The whole game is to invest before that headline runs across the screen from mainstream media and tells the dumbed down masses what's taking place. Tells the masses what we've known. Not just in our minds, but in our hearts and our soul, what was right. And for many of you in the XRP community, you know exactly what I'm talking about. because this is a lot deeper than number go up. And I see a lot of new people coming in here that's all they care about. And I'm about sick of tired of the whining and complaining. Like I've been joking about lately. I'm really good at warming up some milk in a sippy cup for you. And I can get you in a booster seat. Okay? If that's what we need to do, we can do that. Or if you're going to throw such a pouting fit that you want to exit, good luck and God bless to you. It's going to be a fatal mistake for your investment portfolio. If it's not clear to you after the OCC passes yesterday that national banks across this country can now hold digital assets and run validators, and folks are so focused on just looking at that chart, on looking at that 5-minute chart, tweaking out on the 5-minute chart. Now's the time to lock in and understand that you're going to get completely left behind if you don't see what's happening on a fundamental level while the retail trader gets shaken out through the volatility, getting too excited on the narratives, getting too hyped. For us in the XRP community, we're used to watching huge Ripple partnership announcements being made and XRP price goes down. And the only reason why XRP right now is still being controlled and manipulated by the rest of the market makers that are primarily controlling this market through Tether being the main tool and everything following Bitcoin. And this is the same bots and the same algorithms that are trading against the stock market as well, which is why when the news hits, the market comes down. These bots are programmed. Oh, Trump's executive order says that we're not buying more Bitcoin. The algorithm hits and the sell-off begins. And then the DC crypto summit that takes place yesterday wasn't bullish enough. The algorithm triggers once again and the market makers clean you out once again. Who gets wrecked in this situation? The guys that are going long, betting the farm, going long, getting over-levered, they're getting cleaned out. And then a lot of people that are just emotional investors that can't stomach that volatility that's coming from artificial manipulation, keeping this market suppressed, beating up this market, while the institutions are getting ready to sell an ETF for every single one of these main utility cryptos. I haven't seen a Doge ETF, or there actually has been a Doge. Has there been a Doge ETF? Doge actually might get an ETF, despite me thinking that meme's pretty much played and done. I do have a bag of Doge, but I don't expect much from it. But when you look at all these other utility assets and look at what happened to Bitcoin after its ETF went live, and yet we're worried, about our bag. So no, is my bag going to pump? Just look at what happened to Bitcoin going past its previous all-time high before the halving, just a few months after the ETFs went live last year, and then soaring up to a new all-time high of 109,000 here recently. This has been primarily driven by the ETFs. This is what's coming and is present for Ethereum, and now is coming for XRP, coming for HBAR, coming for these other utility assets that the institutions are interested in. Now, are the institutions going to have ETFs for 99% of the rest of the space? Absolutely not. And so when you're playing around with your meme, you better understand that you're playing around betting on momentum and nothing more. And that's fine. I like going to the digital casino too. I only play with XRP Ledger memes myself, but we have to get really clear right now, very focused on what the institutions are actually going to be acquiring, what they're actually going to be using. The number one question that I've been asking of every single crypto since I've been in this game is who the hell is using your token? Because if it's just you and your buddies and some other guys and you got a little community, that is only going to go so far. At the end of the day, community can drive a project, but only so far. After that, we need real adoption, and adoption that comes from utility. And ideally, we want to invest in the assets that are going to solve the biggest problems, which is why I've always focused on liquidity and why I went in so heavily on XRP. Now, for crying out loud, if Scottie Pippen can get bullish, I think that we should understand that, there's nothing to be worried about here. Brad Garnhouse making his comments after the DC Crypto Summit. Some weeks feel like months in crypto. This was one of them. From the White House Crypto Summit to the CFTC CEO Roundtable and the sheer amount of news today, hooray for the National Crypto Association. That's the new association that Ripple created and founded. It's been quite a few days. There's been a lot of talk about what this White House has and will prioritize with their crypto agenda. Most importantly, regulatory clarity through congressional action, as well as a BTC reserve and crypto stockpile, support for stablecoin innovation backed by U.S. Treasuries, and more. I was extremely pleased to see their incredible support from this administration. It's easy to get lost in some of the maxi-induced noise, but there's so much more to this industry than the infighting and one coin versus another time wasting rhetoric. And I'd also say it's easy to get lost and drowned out by the whiners and complainers that are, upset that price isn't moving today and are missing the forest through the trees. We will, as we've always done, continue to champion the need for a level playing field, and it was great to hear others in the room echo this as well, and for the industry to come together to move much-needed legislation forward in the United States. An incredible thank you to Donald Trump for opening and welcoming us to the White House. Amazing contrast to the hostility of the Biden administration. I like to see Brad mentioning that. That's important. David Sachs and Bo Hines for a truly historic summit, and Caroline Pham for hosting us at the CFTC. Rob Cunningham. At some point, the preponderance of evidence becomes so overwhelming to even the most casual of observers. This is the National Crypto Conference, White House, head table seating. You have President Trump's cabinet, and to the right of President Trump's cabinet, who is there sitting? Brad Garlinghouse. And I've been saying, I reported that Brad Garlinghouse was going to be at the summit before we even got the official confirmation. Because what we've seen and what we've gotten confirmed by Brad is that he's been very close with President Trump for a while now. And the other thing that we've noted, for those of us that have been around, is that these roundtables are nothing new to Brad. From the White House Crypto Summit to the CFTC CEO Roundtable that was this week as well, forming the National Crypto Association this week, very busy week for us. But this goes way back to the OG Roundtable with Brad Garlinghouse here, sitting with the chief executive of the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, chairman of the Saudi Arabian Monetary Authority, and the director of monetary markets at the IMF. Brad's used to being at these roundtables. This is normal for Brad and for Ripple, and the representation that the XRP community is getting at all of these forums, at all of these settings. Now, as I mentioned earlier, U.S. banks can now be validators on public networks, custody crypto for customers, and hold stable coins. This is a $1 trillion announcement, and that's Marty Party has it right there. 100%. All this distraction by today's price action is having people miss the fact that we just got a huge letter. This is a letter addressing certain crypto asset activities from the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. This is a massive deal. We are moving. Like, you can see the path that we're heading down, and we're not at our destination yet. I mean, for crying out loud, some of these guys remind me of my children. Daddy, are we there yet? No, honey, we're not there yet. Okay. I can tell you on the maps that we relatively have, this much time left. And that's kind of where we're at with this. We know that we have, some time here. Trump says he expects legislation to be on his desk by August. So the timeline on that has even been extended a little bit further there. And I've been saying that the stablecoin legislation should have already been passed years ago. We're way behind on that one. And now they're scrambling to get stablecoin legislation passed because they know that they need to save the US dollar. This is a matter of national security that they've really, matter of national security at stake here that they've got us exposed to by not passing stablecoin legislation here sooner. By only just now getting this guidance from the OCC, the national banks can custody crypto stablecoins and run validators on networks, which I found that part very interesting. The fact that they outlined that they can run validators on networks. That's a massive deal because we've always had this whole argument in the XRP community that we don't have enough developers and we need more validators. And the XRP Ledger, it's not like the Pi network that you can run off your phone or some of these other networks that you can just, Now, relatively speaking, the XRP Ledger infrastructure does not take that much, right? For a few $100, you can actually run a node. It is not expensive, relatively speaking. It is a chunk of change. But, relatively speaking, it's not much. But do we want to be counting on, Joe Blow in his basement running the infrastructure? Which, funny enough, we do have Joe Blow's, for crying out loud, we have Daniel from Casino Coin. I mean, if Daniel can run a validator on the XRP Ledger, I'd say just about anybody can. But I always like to sneak a little sneak diss in on Daniel whenever I get a chance. But you really can be a Joe Blow in your basement running a validator on the XRP Ledger. But now we have official guidance that banks can actually hop on board too. And we've always known that this is where this is going, right? The adults in the room have always understood where these networks will be confirmed and ran by some of the best infrastructure providers in the world. Whether the banks outsource that to third parties or not, now they have the clarity to move forward. Stuart Alderati picking up a piece of the New York Times here. Picked up a few copies myself. And this is a full-page ad from the National Cryptocurrency Association, the new association that Ripple has now founded, and Stuart Alderati is going to be the president of. Now, let's sit back here for a second. And by the way, I do see your super chats. I will circle back here for the super chats, and I just have one more point before I open this up for Q&A. Let's sit back here for a second and understand what just took place. Ripple's now basically was one of 3 big donors this last election that made this the most successful political campaign, basically the most successful campaigning ever done by a super PAC, I would argue. There's been many other industries and interests that have formed super PACs and that work to influence our elections. But what we saw with the crypto vote was very powerful. And that was primarily funded by Ripple and 2 other companies, okay? Funding Fairshake and others to the tunes of tens of millions of dollars. Even though Chris Larson did give $10 million in XRP to Kamala, Chris Larson took one for the team and sacrificed some XRP to get that message out, which I do appreciate that, by the way. I know some people don't like that. I think it's actually rather funny because Chris Larson's been opening the doors for Ripple for a long time. And it's very important. Once again, there's a reason why Trump went to the World Economic Forum. There's a reason why Brad's going to the World Economic Forum. Doesn't mean that you have to agree with everybody who is in attendance and all of the agendas there, but you have to confront the enemy. And I like taking the fight directly to them, just like Trump did when he went to the World Economic Forum and he openly bashed globalism and just destroyed their full agenda right to their face. I appreciate that. And I appreciate that Chris Larson's opened some doors for us, sacrificing 10 million XRP to the Kamala campaign. Okay. The point being, we run this, guys. And I say we because, we're in this together as far as the American crypto vote is in control. And it's being led by Ripple, Brad, Stu, and a few other industry players that I think have a respectable approach, but there's only a few. There's only a few adults in the room, along with Brad Garlinghouse, Stu, and a couple others. The guy from Chainlink's all right. Chainlink's a decent tech. I think it's all right. Has quite a bit of adoption right now. That's fine. There's guys like Brian Armstrong. He's coming around. I mean, he still did take our Songbird. He still is taking customer funds in a few instances, and we still question and don't really trust Coinbase completely, but, he's done all right. And there's a few other adults in the room along there with Brad. But who else is shelling out $150 million for the lawsuit? $50 million plus in this last election? That's not including Chris Larson's $10 million for Kamala either. Now we have this National Cryptocurrency Association. We're in control. And that's the key points here for me when I look back at this last week. Trump mentions XRP first. That's a data point. That's a data point that should be included in your investment thesis. The fact that Trump mentions XRP first. Now remember, the executive order gives us the direction. Trump putting out a post gives us the direction. What I'm looking for is that partnership between Ripple and our treasury to really, I think it's already present, but I'd like to see that the veil lifted on that a little bit more, because I think that people need reassurance because they're not getting it on the price chart. And so the way that I'm getting reassurance is by looking at all this other fundamental news that we got this week. The fact that Ripple's leading the charge, the fact that Brad Garlinghouse is at the right hand of President Trump there and his cabinet right there at the table with him. I mean, where was Stellar? I could go down the list on some of these other projects. They only did have so much room. So it's not to say that just because your project didn't have representation at the crypto summit that they're not a good project or a good investment. But there's a reason. There's a reason why Brad and Stu are at that table for 2.5 hours eating beef bourguignon with President Trump. There's a reason. There's a reason why President Trump mentioned XRP first. Now, final data point before I open it up for Q&A, and this is an important kind of side point. I know a lot of people think that the memes are silly, but the memes have brought a significant amount of activity to the XRP Ledger, and what I'm a fan of and what I do support 100% is people figuring out how to be their own bank and to cut out all intermediaries and go directly to the DEX, the decentralized exchange built into the XRP Ledger. I'm a big fan of that. Now, whether you're trading memes at the digital casino on the XRP Ledger or whether you're using the DEX for real utility, the point being, I want you to have that skill set and those tools at your disposal as XRP Ledger DeFi is set to explode later this year. And this is going to be institutional DeFi that'll also be available for us, little retail Joe Blow as well. And whether it's learning how to use, the Zalman wallet to self-custody some crypto. I know many people use cold storage wallets for their long-term holdings, as I do too. But using the Zalman wallet, you can set up a wallet on First Ledger as well too. But interacting with the DEX, interacting with the AMM, figuring out how to literally be your own bank. That's what I'm a supporter of. And if the way to get you into that is memes, then that's fine with me, right? Whether it's memes or whether it's a utility project or whether you want to just start playing around with the AMM, I encourage everybody listening to me to at least figure out how to use the XRP Ledger DEX, because down the road, we are going to have a lot of great real-world assets tokenized on the XRP Ledger, and your access to that will be free and clear without anybody getting in the middle of that. It'll be you and your XRP interacting with the XRP Ledger DEX to go buy a tier 1 real-world asset, tokenized on the XRP Ledger, like gold, real estate, etc. Now we're starting with some pretty boring stuff. There's a lot of boring stuff coming right now. Stable coins, treasury bills, meme coins are kind of exciting. But eventually down the road, we get some pretty interesting stuff happening. And by the way, be very careful out there. When I say that the DeFi is exploding, just because somebody's first to offer you yield on your XRP doesn't mean you should trust them. Just because anybody says that they got yield for your XRP does not mean you should trust them. We have to be conducting our due diligence. There are only a couple players that I have seen that look legit when it comes to DeFi on the XRP Ledger so far and providing yield. There's only a couple people that I've seen that look legitimate to me. People, projects, etc. Very few and far between. I'm still holding my XRP. Okay? But I wanted to share this final data point before I open it up for Q&A. This is from First Ledger. Introducing anti-sniper launch protection. Projects looking to launch with First Ledger can opt in for launch protection before launch. What this is, guys, is basically preventing snipers and these bots from coming in very early on projects when they first launch and buying up all the supply. So in the meme world, it's called sniping a project, okay? Which is why I said, and I told all these degens coming to the XRP Ledger, they better watch out, because I used to be quite the sniper back in my days, playing Call of Duty, MW2, etc. Right? So I'm just talking a little smack with these degens, but they better watch out, because I'm going to 360 quick scope their butts if they try to come in here and snipe us. And that's just me talking smack First Ledger's actually introducing this product here, this protection here, which is going to allow projects to protect themselves from snipers for a certain set of time here when they first launch. Now, the reason why this is a big deal to me and why I'm bringing this up tonight is because I think this is going to actually draw even more attention from all these degens that are in Solana, Ethereum, and all these other ecosystems, because the feedback that we're getting from all these Solana bros and all these other guys that come from other ecosystems is that there's so much more community here. There's more fairness, not in a woke way of fairness and equity, but it's just the XRP community is a little bit more real. Like, not everybody's out to just take your lunch. Now, there definitely is snipers. There definitely is cabals. There's definitely influencers out there that will show you projects. And there's a lot of that, right? But this is an interesting product that First Ledger is bringing in. And this is, I think, going to attract even more users to the XRP Ledger. Remember, our wallet growth was like 4 or 5x in Q4 of 2024 because of the memes. I know it's stupid. It's tokenized stupidity. That's exactly what memes are. The definition of memes is it's tokenized stupidity. The dumber the meme is, the better it's going to do, right? The more attention it has, the higher that meme's going to fly. But, and you're always going to have a casino. You always will. We've come to accept casinos in, well, most jurisdictions in society, right? So I've been saying, if you're going to do the casino, if you're going to have it somewhere, might as well have it on the XRP Ledger too. It's only going to burn up more XRP and lock up more XRP, which makes our XRP more scarce, which makes that number go up. Now, First Ledger explains how this works. Before launching a token, you can enable the anti-sniper setting. After opting in, you can set a time for the feature to be enabled for, and once the token launches, only First Ledger wallets can purchase these tokens within the designated time period. After the time period is up, outside participants can purchase. As always, do your own research. So this tool, I think, will be very effective actually at weeding out the snipers from buying in on these projects when they first launch. The way that this is working is you got these, I'm telling you, these guys are pretty sophisticated actually, but what they do is every minute, every 5 minutes, there's probably dozens of projects that launch on the XRP Ledger. And what these bots do is they'll set a trust line on each one of these tokens as soon as they are created. And then what they'll do is they'll follow the volume. And then after that volume picks up on a token, that bot comes in and it snipes the project, and it'll eat up a large amount of that supply, which forces the price up higher. And this is why you get these pump and dumps on every single one of these meme tokens, is because it gets sniped up by snipers. And then obviously you have insiders who get the tip, and maybe you have a community that's waiting to buy. Maybe you have me that sees, hey, a project's going to get launched here, and maybe I come in and snipe you. I might. Okay. And what happens is the supply gets eaten up, and then the supply gets sold off. And that's why it's the same story time and time again with these projects, where it's very rapid pump and dumps. Now, what's interesting is on the XRP Ledger, I've actually found a few communities which have bottomed out, and I say communities and charts, communities and coins, which have bottomed out price-wise and have actually started to come up. And I've told you guys about some of those plays that I've made. And the beautiful thing is that they've acted as just a tremendous hedge against XRP, because these tokens are paired up against XRP, and XRP is paired up against the dollar. So even if the token is down relative to XRP, but XRP's price is going up, you can still be up in dollar terms in your investment. So you can hedge yourself against the dollar or XRP by holding these meme coins. When the meme coin performs, obviously you're going to benefit from that. And XRP might not be doing anything against the US dollar. So at times, I've seen where these coins are just running without XRP, and then at other times they're running with XRP, and then at other times these coins are staying relatively in their they're staying relatively flat in their pairing against XRP, but XRP shoots up 500%. And, after the election, your pairing is relative to the XRP, but then XRP also, has a pairing with the US dollar. And so you can be hedged both ways. Now, I've done both. I've traded these memes to make more XRP. And then I've also cashed out some of this XRP that I've made from trading memes too. And now I've made enough XRP off these memes that I might not even have to touch my long-term holdings this bull run at all. The only XRP that I'll be selling will be XRP that I've made off these memes. But I thought it was a very interesting idea here, this protection from First Ledger. It's not going to stop bots from coming in on projects after the fact, but it allows basically a community to protect a project for a certain set of time on First Ledger before it opens up for everybody else. Very interesting concept that they've done here. And once again, overall, what am I looking for? I don't care really about most of the meme space in particular, but what we want is the users. What we want is the activity. What I want is the trading volume that Solana has. You have to understand that there's billions of volume every single day on Solana in meme coins. I want that on the XRP Ledger. That's what I'm asking for. And even more so than that, where this gets really fun, is not just billions of meme coin trading on the XRP Ledger, but this warms us up and is a glimpse of the future where we have trillions of tokenized assets trading on the XRP Ledger, all the way from memes to tokenized treasuries to tokenized real estate, gold, and every single other real-world asset or piece of data that you want to tokenize. Whether that piece of data has utility or whether that has meme, perception is reality. Okay? Now, with that being said, I hope everybody has been enjoying this live session here. I wanted to, come on here live tonight, give everybody a little pick-me-up, remind everybody that, yes, I'm still bullish. And I did have a fantastic vacation. Feels great to be back in the office, though. Back at it and feeling really refreshed, energized, and motivated, inspired, actually. I was listening to the Elon Musk, Joe Rogan podcast on the way down to Arizona and then on the way back and just feeling really inspired. One, just on how much Joe Rogan's come along. It's so big. It's so massive for the culture and just waking up more people. It's really good. And then just listening to Elon Musk talk about all these problems that he faces, how, what he's working on. It just really, really inspired me. Every time I come back from a vacation or a trip, I always feel motivated and inspired to get back to work. And so that's how I'm feeling right now. I know it was easy for me to not be paying attention because I wasn't paying attention. I was actually pretty locked in with the family on this trip, and it did feel really nice. We did a lot. Had a fantastic time and want to take some Q&A though. So let's open this one up here. I appreciate you guys for stopping by. Let me check our chat here and see how everybody's doing. I know we had some super chats come through, so I'm going to check that real quick. And we will open it up for Q&A so you can start dropping your comments and questions down below. Now let's go here. I appreciate you guys for stopping by. Okay, here we go. Back to the top. Hey, thank you very much, Wes Hill. Thank you for the 10 spot at the very start. XRP doesn't need the government needs XRP. 100%. I've been saying for a long time that XRP is the solution for our debt, currency, and liquidity crisis. It solves all three. If you play it right, and if the government did a deal with Ripple and they were able to acquire some XRP, maybe they could buy it at fair price. Maybe they could buy it at a discount. Maybe Ripple could give them some for free. I know some people didn't like that idea, and I understand. I don't really want to give anything to our government until we figure everything else out first. Like, what the hell is going on? And then we can do a deal, But I would be in favor of Brad coming out and saying, hey, we're happy to earmark $1 billion XRP for you guys, and we're going to provide you a checklist of items that need to be done for us to release this to you. In fact, Ripple and Brad could even show off the XRP Ledger escrow feature by saying, hey, we're going to put $1 billion XRP here in an escrow for you guys, and there's 10 items on this checklist that we want to see done. And every time you check one off, 100 million XRP gets released to you. So after those 10 items are complete, you got yourself a billion XRP. What about that idea? I'm just spitballing. And yes, Brad and Ripple, they're already at, with Trump doing deals. But I'm just talking about, how can we move this thing forward? How do we accelerate this adoption? And how do we remove all friction? Everybody worried about what assets should be in the reserve. How are we going to fund it? If Ripple says, hey, here's a billion XRP, accomplish these 10 items, that conversation's over. No debate, no discussion about how it's funded, what should be included. Does the US government want a billion XRP? Achieve these things? Here you go. Pay for performance pay. Dennis, thank you for the 5 spot. Do you think that Yusko and Melker were misled? No. Do you think that Saylor changed his thesis for other coins on his own? Hell no. XRP has a ticket to ride. It's been so interesting, Dennis, as you point out here. Somebody wanted me to comment on Michael Saylor's posture and it just is how he looked at the conference. And it's very clear. I mean, I don't know. Some people said that he has some things. I don't know. And I don't want to pick on him for anything like that. It's just, there's a clear difference to me. And I've said this with everybody. I'm not even speaking on Michael Saylor or anything. There's a big difference. The approach in the way that Brad and Ripple has presented themselves versus everybody else. Now, I did point out the CFTC picture because to me, if you're standing there with the CFTC CEO roundtable and you're doing a photo op, maybe we should stand straight up with some good posture. That's where I come from. My mentor, Dan Pena, says you only have one time to make a first impression. Actually, it's twice. He says you have 2 times to make a first impression. The way you dress, and he says when you open your big fat mouth, which is his nice way of saying when you speak. You have 2 times to make a first impression. The way that you're dressed and when you speak. And I noticed right away when I looked at that picture, Brad Garlinghouse, perfectly straight, perfect posture, suit perfectly tailored, Paulo, slouched, hands in the pockets. There's a big difference between a CEO sitting there with his hands in his pockets and one standing up straight. And and once again, I'm sitting in my sweatpants right now, full disclosure. Okay, so I'm not saying that, I don't wear my suit every day, right? I'm not a suit guy, right? I do like, to throw on a suit once in a while when the time is right. When you go to the CFTC for a CEO roundtable, the time is right. Standing up straight, speaking loud and clear. That's where I come from. Maybe I'm old school. I know I'm old school in that sense because everybody, it's old school. But to me, there's a big difference. There's a big difference in the way that Michael Saylor represented himself, the way that some of those other guys represented themselves there. There's a big difference. Now, continuing on, crypto established 2018. Thank you for the 5 spot. Zach, been here for 10 years. Keep pushing, brother. Amen. And that's how I feel. For so many of us, we've been here for so long. And you kind of just laugh, and I would encourage everybody, we need to be, helping these people out. I know it's tough. Some of these folks, you want to just say, hey, man, you want to cry this much about it? Go ahead, dude. Because, I get it. But I think that we do need to have empathy for the new people coming on board who are new to investing that, overall. You're dealing with a lot of people. I speak, to a lot of people that are new to investments. They've never been in the stock market. They've never been in real estate. These are young folks. And then, the entire spectrum of people that have invested here in XRP and are just trying to understand, is this legit or not? Because you got a wide spectrum of people saying that XRP is only going to go to $5 to $10 to folks saying that we're going to go to $10,000 this year. And so it's difficult to weed through all the information on XRP for new XRP investors. And that's why I say we have to take it upon ourselves to have a little bit of empathy. A little bit of empathy. All right, little. Okay, some of you guys crying a little bit too much, okay? Crypto established 2018. I appreciate that. You gave me another 5 spot there. I was like, I thought that I just read your super chat. No, you dropped me 2, another one. It's all part of the plan, everyone. XRP will be paid in fine. US will hold it in reserve, and that's a great possibility too, right? Just a great way to get the ball rolling would be for Ripple to pay that fine. You know, and I know people say that there's no chance. I know people saying that it's not possible. And just like in 2020, when we opened up Powell's Pandora's box, this time around, we have opened up Trump's Pandora's box. Whether you like it or not, whether you voted for him or not. This is Trump's Pandora's box that's been opened up. I know some people are trying to fight to shut it. They're fighting like crazy. And, you know, I hesitate to say it, but it might even be the Trump and Elon Pandora's box. Chosen One Collecting, thank you for the 2 spot. I love XRP, but that summit was cheeks. For price, yeah. We don't know what Brad was talking about with those guys behind closed doors. Right? So, to me, if Brad had come and left that and said, guys, this is a joke. Trump's not taking this serious. He's letting these other guys, run around here, self-serving, conflicts of interest, and other silly stuff. If Brad reported on that, we would have heard that. But the consensus from everybody there is that we're moving in the direction towards establishing a regulatory framework and making the United States the leader in the industry worldwide. And so, I mean, it was a nothing burger for price, which that's typical of these events. We get these all the time. I mean, how many times have I told you guys about when, these types of situations, right? These events that you see coming that everybody can look to and say, hey, on that date, this crypto summit's going to happen. 9 times out of 10, almost 10 times out of 10, what's going to happen? The market's going to run up into that event, and then the market makers who manipulate and still can control this market are going to nuke the charts and clean out the leverage, rinse and repeat. And we're letting this happen again and again because of how much leverage is used in crypto. Like the people that are holding a spot position, and well, you're the ones that are doing fine, but there's some folks that can't handle the volatility. But the folks that are just holding that spot position and watching, right? You're not losing anything, right? As long as you go in with the proper expectation, that, yeah, it might go up a little bit, but typically on these days we see sell-offs. So that would be normal. If the assets pull back to my price target, I'm going to buy them, right? All of these assets, whether it's XRP or these other ones, if you're still making entries on these positions, anything lower than the position that you've entered on now should be a sale, should be an opportunity for you to lower in your average cost. If you actually believe in these projects from a fundamental basis. Not once in the past 6 years have I questioned my XRP, enough to the point where I actually was thinking about selling any of it. Never. I mean, I've obviously questioned my investment many times. I mean, that's what we do every single day, is that I've been trying to poke holes in this XRP theory. I've been trying to poke holes in my thesis, and I can't. Every single time you look around the corner, it's Ripple. When you look across the landscape of who's actually got real adoption from people that matter, it's XRP. Brand X Puppy, thank you for the 5 spot. Or Brand X Pupil, thank you for the 5 spot. Hello, Zach. Looking forward to our 1 hour next week. Please send a link to the meeting. Thanks, Steven. Steven, absolutely. Yep. And anybody else that's looking to sit down for a one-on-one, we have those available. That is another community resource there at zachrector.com. And that should be linked up in the description of this video for you guys. And I will be looking forward to that as well, Steven. It's one of my favorite things to do is to sit down and chop it up with you guys. Really is just always a pleasure. The diverse people that I get to speak with, all sorts of backgrounds, always a lot of fun. So I'll be looking forward to that. Thank you, Steven. I appreciate you. Chosen One Collecting, another 2 spot. If life was on the line, who is number 2 behind XRP? right now, my number 2 holding is XLM, but I have been thoroughly impressed with HBAR. I will say that. I know my deep dive didn't come off as bullish as some people would have liked it to be, but I thought that I was pretty reasonable as far as like I actually did price predictions for HBAR, and then I actually covered the fundamentals. The reason why I say I've been impressed by HBAR is because that governing council is some significant players. What I want to see going forward, though, is them actually using the token, and I want to see who's going to fill the governing council seats that are going to be vacated over the next 24 months. So, HBAR would be a close number 2. XLM's number 2 there too. It probably would be XLM, just because XLM, it moves so closely with XRP. So XLM would probably still be my number 2. Okay. Dennis, they can pay the fine with XRP. Yeah. Thank you. There's many ways to get some XRP into the hands of our treasury. And I hear you. Trust me, guys. I hear you. All the people that are, I had a couple of people say that they were unsubscribing. I was like, okay, I just threw out an idea. And I think that after I elaborated on it a little bit further, some people kind of came around like, oh, okay, maybe this does make sense. A lot of people with a business mind understood it, right? I mean, I've been giving away free stuff for years in my business, right? I mean, that was the whole, it's a large part of my success. I mean, for crying out loud, this is what I'm doing right now. You put out free content and then it pays dividends down the road. That's how you get deals done. So there's many ways. And I think that the idea that I just came up with tonight, that was on the spot, was the checklist, the performance pay. Let's lock up 1 billion XRP in an escrow. Let's give them a checklist of 10 items. And every time one of those items gets accomplished, 100 million XRP gets transferred to the treasury. I think that's a great idea. One, as an American, I love the fact that it doesn't involve any taxpayer funds going to buy XRP. And by the way, if you think that, oh, well, that's not going to move XRP, oh, it will. Because you saw what happened when Trump put out the post earlier this week. All it took was Trump saying that XRP was going to be in the reserve. XRP shot up by 80 cents and the market cap grew by 40 billion. Don't kid yourself. If this is going to happen, XRP's price will be moving. The Positive Life, thank you for the 5 spot. I have XRP and HBAR pretty good amount. Can you suggest some other coins to round out my wallet? The ISO list is always, just the basis, right? The ISO list is the basis. I don't care whether you want to say that they're not officially or technically ISO compliant. I've explained that nuance so many freaking times that I just don't care anymore. Call it an ISO coin, get upset and say that technically they're not ISO. It doesn't matter. The ISO list is a good start, obviously, which would be XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR, Algorand, and a few others. You want to have ISO compliance because that's going to get you, integrated into the new messaging standard. And so it is important. Other than that, I'm really only got my eyes on X. It sounds so stupid, but I really have had most of my attention on XRP memes, and I haven't really been looking at many other projects right now. Other, quote unquote utility projects. I've been looking at, I've been looking around, but I just haven't really seen anything that's really piqued my interest. But yeah, I would start with the ISO list. You can't really go wrong there. 1970 Legend, thank you for the 5 spot. Any Australian free shipping left? Glad you had a good vacay with the family. Yeah, thank you, brother. It was a really good time. I do actually think that we do have like maybe 5. The last time I checked, there was like 6 or 7, and I swear a few came in. So guys, check that. There's probably only a few left, and maybe we've already hit all of it, but I'm not going to check it tonight. So if we have some Aussies in the chat, you can take advantage of it tonight. But by tomorrow morning, I will go through and I will tally it up, and we'll have the team take a look at it, and we'll see where we're at. We might be all out. We did the Australia free shipping giveaway funded by our good friend here, 1970 Legend. God bless you, brother. And we've dang near filled it out. We did 24 orders total, and I think we're only down to a few left. So any Aussies in the chat that want free shipping, take advantage of it while it lasts. That deal is going to be expiring here soon. And should mention at this point, too, that we have international shipping worldwide for the XRP family merch. And by the way, boy, does it feel... I should have brought some XRP family merch with me on vacation. I really should have. I was wearing my short sleeve button-ups, trying to stay cool out there in AZ. You could really tell who the Washingtonians were, because my family was the only ones crazy enough to be out our first day that we got there. We stayed in a hotel one night before we went to our Airbnb, and we were at the hotel, and we were the only people that were trying to get in the pool. And the pool actually was heated, but we were the only ones out there, and we were getting some crazy looks. We were heading down there with the family, and really, it wasn't even that bad. It was just the wind. Getting in and out of the pool, it was freezing, but it was the wind. Other than that, it was like 69, 70. I was happy as could be. Sun was shining. Rip off the clothes, swim shorts, heading to the pool with the family. And we came back up to the hotel shivering. We were the only ones out there. I'm looking around in Phoenix, and everybody's got long sleeves on and sweaters on. I'm like, what's going on here? I was in shorts and short sleeves the whole time. Now, Tom, does anybody remember laughter? Yes, Tom. Thank you for reminding us. I appreciate you, my friend. I appreciate you. And I just had a blast, man. We were down there for a wedding, and my wife was in the wedding, and then my daughter was a flower girl in the wedding, and she was just tearing it up on the dance floor. I'm so proud of her. And my son, well, he's still a stubborn little guy. I feel bad for the people on the flight next to us, because on the way down, he cried for the first hour and a half, and then on the way back, he cried during takeoff, basically before we took off. And then he was crying all through our landing as well, too. So the second trip wasn't as bad, but the first trip, the first hour and a half of our 3-hour flight, he was crying and screaming. Like, the boy is stubborn. And I don't know where he gets that from. That's, I don't know where he gets it. But we had just a tremendous time down there. We were running and gunning. And that's why I didn't get as many updates out as I would like to, guys, is because I had, we got an Airbnb. And it was a nice little 2-bedroom place, but it was, kind of a smaller place where I couldn't really escape the family, right? I couldn't really escape the kids all that much. And really, I kind of just unplugged for the week and was just locked in with the family. And it felt really amazing. It really did. You guys know that I basically have to be pulled away from my work. And that's all I do is hang out with my family besides do this work, right? I do this and I go hang out with my family, and that's about it. But it was really nice to actually check out for the week. The first day we went to the Butterfly Wonderland. Second day we went to the Wildlife Zoo. The next day we did something else. I forget what we went. We were just, every day we were moving. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Does somebody need a safe space in the chat? So somebody need a safe space. Crypto established. Thank you for the 5 spot. 1, be patient. 2, know what you hold. Not another blockchain has the momentum and partnerships as Ripple XRP. Man, it's true. It's not even close. Not even close. Yeah, Chosen One Collecting. I appreciate that 5 spot. He says, can you explain the importance and difference between the stockpile and reserve? Does XRP have advantage over Bitcoin being in a stockpile? Ripple suppressing price? Yeah, I really just, I don't think that there really is that much of a difference. Right? It's effectively the same thing. It's the government holding cryptos. Whether it's called a reserve, whether it's called a stockpile, it's the same thing. Until they elaborate the differences between the reserve and the stockpile, other than which cryptos will be featured in it. Like if the reserve assets are assets that we're only going to hold, then that would make a difference. But they didn't outline that as far as I'm aware. Now, I got to print out the executive order and I'll read through it and I'll see if there's anything that mentions that. The only other thing I can think of is on all of these state bills that are being passed, the minimum threshold for all of them is a market cap of $750 billion for the past 12 months. So for any asset to be added to these, state reserve bills, the bills say they need to have a market cap of $750 billion for the past 12 months. And right now, the only crypto that would meet that threshold would be Bitcoin. So maybe there's something there too, but to me, it sounds like the reserve is the only difference that we may see is that's what we're going to be holding versus the stockpile is a strategic stockpile that we may, still deploy or use. That's the only difference that I see other than which assets are going to be featured in them. Until we get that outline, that's really all we have to work with right now. Does XRP have an advantage? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because XRP is not just a store of value. In addition to being a store of value, it has real utility. And the utility that XRP and the XRP Ledger provides is tremendous. Right? I mean, we're talking about addressing payments and liquidity, which is one of the biggest problems in the world by a dollar amount. So not only can our treasury hold XRP on our balance sheet as a reserve, but they also would be able to use the XRP Ledger to tokenize, like, for example, that 50-year gold-backed bond that they want to do next year. Judy Shelton and Trump have been talking about that. I think that's a great idea. The XRP Ledger, you could actually do that. You can't do anything with Bitcoin. So, it definitely has an advantage over Bitcoin. Not only for the U.S. government, but for everybody that holds it and understands XRP. Is Ripple suppressing price? No. Ripple is the sales, the buying and the selling that Ripple does is price neutral. Okay, so no, they're not suppressing. Ripple is not suppressing. Dennis, thank you for the 5 spot. Jimmy Valley says Ripple can't hold more than 20% of XRP under the new rules. So some kind of thing for other escrows. Yes. What Jimmy was referring to was the FIT 21 bill. And in the FIT 21 bill, it outlines for a project to be considered decentralized, no one entity could hold more than 20% of it. So in the case of the XRP supply, Ripple would have to give up a certain amount of that, or they would have to specifically outline that because it's in the escrow, Ripple doesn't have control of it, which is really interesting because the escrow could be a workaround. Really the technical answer is Ripple doesn't have it until it's released to them. They have the keys to it, but they don't actually have the supply in their possession until it gets released from the escrow and sent to their hot wallets or whatever wallets that the XRP releases to. It could be a cold wallet for all I know, but basically it's locked up in the escrow and then it gets released to other Ripple wallets, and that's when Ripple comes into possession of it, which is why Ripple accounts for it as 0 on their balance sheet. So if Ripple provided a financial statement today for us, which they don't need to do because they're a private company, but if you had access to it, and as they've been saying, on their balance sheet, they report their escrow at 0. So would that be a workaround? Potentially, but Jimmy is noting that the FIT 21 bill says that only 20% of the supply could be held by one entity for a project to be sufficiently decentralized. And whether or not in the market structure bills they actually even include that, we don't know. What they're going to do is stablecoin legislation first, most likely, and then they'll do the market structure bill. And the market structure bill is where they could potentially outline what is going to be the definition or standard for a decentralized project. So it's a great point that Jimmy brings up because, well, obviously I've been talking with Jimmy and, yeah, we've been talking about this. We've been talking about this for a while now, and to see it now finally coming together, and Jimmy really at the forefront of this fight for the XRP holders, I'm really excited to see what's going to come of this. because the damages are still massive. And I still think that there needs to be some accountability. In fact, one of the things that I was inspired coming back from my vacation, listening to Elon Musk and the work that he's doing, listening to Joe Rogan and how he uses his platform, I was really just thinking about how I need to be using my platform going forward, just strategically, to get some real action and actually accomplish something. How can I use my platform to have groundbreaking interviews, conduct groundbreaking research, and put out, content that's really going to move the needle? How do I do that? Because to me, that's my role, right? How can I play my part? That's what I need to be doing. And I was just inspired on the way back from my trip to get back here and get back to work on just that. Just thinking, who do I need to interview next that's going to help move the needle? Who do we need to send letters off to? And once again, we didn't want it to be this way, but I've been having conversations with Jimmy in my red folder and the XRP buyback. We've been talking about this for years. And that's just with the XRP case. I can use my platform, and my mission is to do much more than just that. But this has been a great start. And the job's not finished. I mean, we have not accomplished what we want to. And I think that we have a closing window of opportunity here before this will be forgotten about. The only, this is part of the XRP documentary. We need to make that go viral. We need to continue to press forward. And I've been talking with Jimmy about how we're going to be doing that. And stay tuned, because there is some more of that coming. And I was just inspired on the way back here. It's time to get really serious about how I can use my platform to really move this needle. Thomas Conservative, thank you for the 10 spot. I look at the price of XRP and see how far we've come, but this is only the beginning. I'm moving toward 99% XRP, but I still buy Bitcoin each week. Thomas, I appreciate that. And, to each their own, right? I don't buy Bitcoin. It's not in my investment thesis or portfolio right now. But I mean, I'm all for it. I'm all for people getting exposure to the assets that they believe in, that they believe are going to perform well. And all I ask is that you have conviction in whatever that play is going to be, whether it be a meme, whether it be Bitcoin or XRP. I just want you to know why you're buying it, and that you're not just buying it because some influencer told you to buy it. You saw a video that got you hyped. You saw a TikTok. I want you to have conviction in any of your investments, for that matter. But it is just the beginning. We're still on track. I haven't even looked at the charts or talked about price. I don't even know where we're at. I don't know what the price of XRP is at. I checked XRP's price once today. Did I check it at all? Or did I check it yesterday? I think I checked it once today. Once. And obviously I was traveling and kind of moving, but XRP had come back down to 230. The posture's fine. This is the daily chart on XRP. And there's nothing wrong with this. People think that XRP's dead. I mean, the nonsense that I'm reading in the comments and out on crypto Twitter. I mean, I was reading my comments earlier today before I got on the plane. I was reading through my comments on YouTube, and I saw somebody that said that they were giving up on XRP, that they were done with XRP. And I know he's not the only one. And, I forget who it was. I'm not going to call him out, but, I took note of that because I do read all of your guys' comments on YouTube. And that's how I get my feedback. And that's how I see where the sentiment is at in the community. And I kind of knew that that's what was going to be going on this week because people are distracted by price. And they're so zoomed in on this price chart. And they allow it to distract them from the fundamentals, from the path that's been laid, from the direction that we're heading. Like I said, I mean, it literally is the kids asking you, Daddy, are we there yet? And you explain to them The GPS says, I mean, back in the day when we used to use the old Garmin, you remember that? I remember that when I used to take road trips with my family. We had the little Garmin. And my wife and I were talking about that, about how it was such a big deal back in the day to print out directions. Remember that? You print out MapQuest. Oh, you know, you got your mom's in the co-pilot seat giving directions to dad. Right? Good old days. The same thing. You're literally telling the little ones, hey guys, it's okay. You know, you need a little snacky? You need a little milky? We can get you some. It's okay. You know, the GPS says that we're still 5 hours away from our destination. We're heading in the right direction. If you need to stop for a break, we can stop for a potty break, okay? And that's literally this crypto game. The path is gold bricks laid in front of us, the most beautiful sight to see. And folks are getting tripped up by an uneven brick, an uneven paver. Little trip up. Getting distracted because a rain cloud came over and the sun went away for a minute. You know, we're still on track. We are still on track. What are we on track for? I'll give you the numbers. We are on track for XRP to go up towards $7 to $10 in the next, well, now I've been saying the next 60 days, but I was saying that back in February. You know, March and April here, this time frame, March, April, May, we're still on track to have this alt season that takes XRP. XRP really is going to lead it. That takes XRP to $7 to $10. And then we're absolutely still on track for XRP to go up towards $20 and beyond towards the end of this year into next year. And we're still on track to see XRP, in my opinion, at $100 plus, $100 and beyond in the not too distant future. A great chart to look at is the comparison between XRP and Tesla. The similarities on that chart are very interesting. Very interesting. And where we're at is in the middle of a breakout towards new all-time high price discovery. And then we go into a period of consolidation once again. And that consolidation, you know, could very well be, you know, in the double digits, if not higher. And by the way, there's scenarios where XRP goes to a stupid number way faster than the timeline that I just laid out. There, I mean, you saw the tweet came out this week. I've been saying this for a while, right? Because people say, well, Zach, is there any possibility that XRP goes to, you know, $50, $100, $1,000? I don't rule out any of the high prices. And there are scenarios where this gets ridiculous very quickly. And you saw a glimpse of that earlier this week when Trump said XRP is going to be added to the reserve. 80 cents for 40 billion in market cap growth. And the only reason why we came back down is because this stock market is so freaking weak, so overvalued. And the markets are so spooked by this trade war that has nothing to do with crypto. But because the algorithms and the market makers are all programmed the same way, we get this big sell-off on Monday because the trade war goes live, or the next iteration of the trade war plays out with the tariffs going live with Canada, Mexico, and with China. Has nothing to do with crypto. There's no reason that it should impact prices of crypto. But why does it? Because it's the same algorithm that the market makers in crypto are using, the same ones that the ones in the traditional stock market are using. It's why coming up here later this month, when Fed Chair Jerome Powell comes out and they make their decision on interest rates, and then he gives his speech, the market will act the same way, the stock market and the crypto market. And that doesn't change. We don't break out of that and enter that era of utility until we have legislation and institutions present at scale. And that's later this year, which is why I say that we're still on track to run up to $7 to $10 in the next month or so. And then still on track to go up towards $20 and maybe even more towards the end of this year into next year. We're still on track. Some people are just way too zoomed in on that chart. I said something big was coming in March. Well, so that might have been a couple different things. So I can't speak on anything too soon yet, but like I said, I'm working with Jimmy, and a few other people are working on some things right now for the XRP community. There's going to be more announcements to follow. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, obviously, ISO was supposed to go live for FedWire. That's been delayed till July. The other thing is the Fed meeting is in the middle of this month, March 18th, I believe. And then what else do we have? I mean, obviously, the SEC versus Ripple case could end at any day. So that's also on the table as well. Thomas, I appreciate you. Thank you for another 5 spot. We are spending less and less time at each price level. The newcomers don't even realize 6 months from now we'll be kings and queens. And that's just it. You know, when you got people that have basically made entries in the last few months after we've already been above $2, they don't understand that we are setting records. We set a record for 16 days closed above $3 for XRP in January. We've never done that. We had the highest monthly closes back to back for, what was it, December and January. Yeah. So we had the highest monthly closes back to back. We had some of the highest weekly closes. We had 16 days closed above $3. These are all record-setting achievements for XRP on its chart. But new people that have only been in the game for a little bit here since XRP's been above $2, you know, relatively to them, it seems like XRP's not moving. You know, what do you mean it's setting records? My portfolio doesn't reflect that. And once again, I'm not trying to beat up anybody that's new. God bless you. I'm glad that you got in. I'm glad you got in at 2 before we go to 10. I'm glad you got in at 2 before we go to 20. Before we go to 5, 8, 9. I'm glad that you're here. But, you know, a lot of new people coming in, and we're gonna reach out a hand and help you out. You know, if you're new here, make sure you have subscribed, hit that notification bell, and stay tapped in with us. We will help you out. And that's just it. That's a great point off of TikTok right here. People have lost the ability to have patience. Instant gratification society. 100%. Okay, guys. Hey, I'm going to wrap up this session for now. It's been a lot of fun here tonight. I am back here and ready to get back to work. So make sure you guys stick around. If you're in the Discord group, by the way, we are making up for today's Discord Weekly call. I postponed it till tomorrow. So that is going to be taking place tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. We're going to give everybody an opportunity to go to church, have Sunday morning with the family. And then tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, we will be having our Discord Weekly call. And I'm really looking forward to catching up with the Discord group, updating them on some of the moves that I've been making and what we have to look forward to for next week. But I will be dropping more content again tomorrow, and then we'll be back to our regular programming. So if you missed me, I missed you too. I love all of you guys, and I really do appreciate your support. I'm also excited. I know my merch guy has some stuff for me as well too. And so really looking forward to that. We should be going live with some hats here shortly as well too. Live with the international shipping for the XRP family merch. And then all of our community resources are available at zachrector.com. On the way out, if you guys haven't already, please, it really does help us. Hit that thumbs up for us. Thank you so much. And really glad to be back, okay? Thank you so much. You guys have a great